What's good? What's good? What's going on, people? It's your man Chris B, aka Buzz, back with another one. Time I figured I'd go live, talk to y'all about an interesting topic. Shout out to my girl Monique. Shout out to my girl Monique for the topic. You know what I'm saying? But it was a very interesting topic, and I figured I'd pose it to y'all. Um, do really do women really co-parent? It's an interesting question. I know things can be difficult in relationships, and a lot of people can testify towards that. A lot of things can be difficult in relationships, and especially when kids are involved. So I felt it would be interesting to talk about from the women's side. You know, first thing I wanted to know is from the women, or are y'all giving the fathers a real chance to be in the child's life? Like me in my own personal situation, I asked my mother, I said, did you give him a chance to be in my life? And, the answer was yes, she did. I guess he just didn't take it. So I get it, to where you got some dudes that check out when it's time to step up. But what about for the guys that are trying to be in the baby's life or the child's life? Is he getting a real chance? I know there's a lot of circumstances to deal with in relationships when you're dealing with things like that. But I think it's a important question to ask from the lady's point of view. Or are y'all really willing to co-parent when things don't go right? Because sometimes things don't go right. You like to think that the person that you made kids with, you're going to be with them forever. But I know things happen in life and in general to where that may not be the case. But, are you going to give that guy, if he's willing to be, it may not have worked out between y'all, but are y'all adult enough to have some type of relationship for the child's sake? Does he get a real shot to be in the child's life if he's trying to be? Yeah, trust me, ladies, I know there's some deadbeat daddies out there that, good Lord, and in the end, that will come back to haunt them when them children do great things. I always say that on both sides, for women or the men who don't be in their child's life. I think it comes back to bite you in the end when them kids do become successful. So think about that if you're not dealing with your children like that. And I know sometimes, ladies, when you get the new guy, I know a lot of the issues and a lot of the animosity, especially from the men's side, is when it don't work out, you do have children, the new guy is involved, and some of you want to try to let him play daddy. And that's a recipe for disaster, in my opinion, and a lot of issues. I think that it's a very tough situation being a co-parents to a child, because I know it's still, in a lot of situations, there's probably still feelings involved. You know what I'm saying? Strong feelings on one side or the other, or both. So that can complicate things a lot. And I get it. But sometimes, ladies, you got to ask yourself, is it really like that, or are you just being petty to the father in certain situations? Are you being petty to him? And shout out once again to all the real fathers out there that step up and take care of their children. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes dads get a bad rap. Deservedly so. In a lot of situations, dads get a bad rap, y'all. But the co-parenting thing is an interesting topic that I like to explore. And I like to share some videos, maybe just one, but we'll get through this one and see what y'all think from a couple, I believe, that co-parented a child or co-parenting a child, and their take on how they dealt with their co-parenting issues, you know? Now we can dig into the pros and cons of it, but I think the ultimate message is that it really ain't about the man or the woman anymore. It's about what's best for the child. And I hope, ladies, like I've said in previous videos, I pray that if the dude's doing the right thing, I pray that you let him be in that child's life, even though things may not work out between y'all two. Don't be petty Polly, please. Give the dudes a chance. The child's best chance to grow, in my opinion, is with both parents in the household. So I think it's important that we look at that and hope that you can find some kind of way to make it work. I know it's difficult in some situations. Some relationships are just so toxic, or it's been so much push and pull on both sides that neither side wants to feel like they want to let loose. So if it's emotions involved, especially when it comes to them kids, it's rough. So I can't speak for everybody in their individual situations. All I can tell you, for the greater whole of the child's growth, that y'all will make the co-parent as best situation as possible, in my opinion. That's the only way I think it could work out, to where all parties can find some kind of peace of mind. I know we don't live in a perfect world, but it's just one of those things that where you should take that into consideration. We're gonna share these videos. Let's go.
I remember watching my father raise the pistol to my mother's head. She pleaded with him to put the gun down, but he ignored her. When she bolted toward the door, he followed close behind, and once outside, he fired one single shot. I was 12. I remember this moment frame by frame. I remember feeling numb. I remember feeling alone. Thank God the bullet missed her, but my family would never be the same. I would never be the same. I didn't know then all the ways that my parents' on-again, off-again relationship would impact me, but I knew I didn't want to love like theirs. My story would be different. Years later, when I met you, I fell madly in love. Our connection was undeniable. It was as if you had been handpicked just for me. I thought we'd be together forever, but we struggled with some of the same issues my parents had, and after nearly 9 years together, we called it quits. We had Sekou then. He was only 3. Though he was too young to really understand what was going on, he was old enough to know that mommy and daddy weren't going to be living in the same house anymore. Our breakup hit me really hard. But I decided I wouldn't let my broken heart get in the way of what was best for Sekou. We struggled initially trying to navigate this new space as co-parents. I asked myself, how do we raise this beautiful boy full of wonder and promise and so much power in spite of our failures as a couple? The answer for me was simple. I could either choose fear of being alone, fear of the unknown, or choose love. And I chose love. That means seeing the good in you as a father. It means seeing the good in you as a father and not your missteps as a partner. It means putting Sekou first every time, even if it means I don't get my way.
Shopify Point of Sale makes it easy to start and grow your retail business. All backed by the world's most powerful commerce platform.
I know my parents went back and forth trying to work things out for my brother and I's sake. Though I appreciate their effort, I wish they hadn't. I saw too much. I heard too much. I knew I didn't want that to be Sekou's story. I wanted Sekou to know what it was like to see two parents who got along, two parents who worked together as a team. I wanted him to know what love looks like in its truest form. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not anger easily. It keeps no wrongs. Love always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres.
Now, I thought it was an interesting format. I thought it was an interesting forum for this former couple to be in this format like that in front of a live audience, openly talking about their issues and how they're moving forward co-parenting. You know, I looked at a lot of different things before I chose this video to share. And I thought this format was just interesting. They're sitting up in front of a crowd. It seems like, you know, you're testimony to all. You're testifying to all, if you would. And I found that very interesting. And it was real. Now, y'all may not agree with their co-parenting style. And that's okay. It's okay in the world that we live in. But I think it was just an interesting dynamic, and I wanted to share this video. Let's get it.
It's 1983. I was 11 years old. I remember being in the basement with my father in our home on the east side of Detroit. I watched him stuff albums into the blue and orange milk crates as tears streamed from his eyes. Just before that, my mother and I, him and my mother, had just sat me and my siblings down and told us that they were calling it quits. 30 years later, I found myself with tears in my eyes as I put back my belongings in our home. Ebony and I met while I was serving a 19-year prison sentence. For 4 years, we used letters, phone calls, and visits to build what we imagined to be an
I do like to say, shout out to you brothers in the system. y'all know how to snag them, bro. I'm telling you. Them brothers in the system are racking up with the ladies, man. I guess us guys on the streets got to get it together, like they say. But hey, shout out to you, brothers. Let's.
Unshakable bond. We fought the system together, and we thought that we would be able to right the wrongs of our parents. She was a poet. I was a writer. She was gorgeous with a PhD. I was handsome with a GED. But we built something magical. We built something that we thought would endure. But unfortunately, our relationship became unhinged when I was released from prison. Post-traumatic stress syndrome, trauma from prior to going to prison, baggage from her relationship, my inexperience in the relationship, undid the magic of what we built behind the walls. Centered in all of that was our beautiful boy. I remember when we first brought Sekou home. It was so exciting, it was amazing. We worked together, we collaborated, we supported each other. You took the night shift, I took the morning shift, and it was going amazing. And then it all changed. It changed the morning that you came in really excited. You was like, hey, I'm going back to work. Aren't you excited? And I was like, yes, I am ecstatic right now. I could not be more delighted. But inside, I was really afraid, but I couldn't tell you that. So instead I said, hey, go off and have a wonderful day. And you left, and I was left with Sekou.
If your knees touch while you're sleeping on your side, watch this closely. You're putting too much pressure on your sciatic nerve.
What I understand now about that moment is that we were fostering the trust that's necessary for parents to coexist, and that you were trusting me with our most precious gift, and that you were building the foundation and the blocks for what's important for this portal we call parenthood.
Knowing how our parents' breakups impacted us, we were really sensitive about how our breakup would impact Sekou. We struggled, but we found our way. And let Sekou tell it, we're the best parents in the world. I love that he sees us that way. We made a choice in the beginning to co-parent as allies and not adversaries, to break the toxic pattern that we see play out over and over again when parents lose focus on what's most important, the children. They allow their relationship pain to get in the way. But at the end of the day, we're on the same team, and that's Sekou's team. I have to admit, we have an unconventional relationship. A lot of people don't understand. We're not perfect as parents or people, but we honor each other's role in Sekou's life. We allow him to do things that our parents would never allow us to do. We don't allow our fears to put limits on him.
And I think that's important that she's saying that right there. I think that's important that she's putting it out there that it's about the child. And me personally, I think that's where it should be. Now, for those of y'all that caught that, what she said, you broke my heart. So you know what that means. And me personally, I know a lot of brothers that got out of prison, and they say you got that glow. You got that glow on you when you come out of prison that just attract women. Ladies, y'all don't know how true it is. Y'all tell your boy in the comments. But I hear it's a truth thing. From what I hear, it's a truth thing. You got that glow on you when you come out. Women all on you. So, yeah. Damn near 19 years, man. That's a tough one. Me personally, in my situation, I always said, if I was doing that amount of time, sorry, baby. The judge broke us up. But, I've said this before, you can't help who you love and where love finds you at. So to each his own. But once again, shout out to you brothers in prison. Damn, you doing your thing.
We nurture his natural curiosity about the universe and his relationship to the world. Remember that time when we were coming in from a long day of work and Sekou found a puddle outside, a puddle of mud, mind you, had a brand new fresh outfit on, Levi's from head to toe. And he found this puddle of mud and he reached for it and he wanted to touch the muddy earth, and we allowed him to do that. We resisted the urge to say no, and in fact went and got him a shovel and allowed him to feel the earth's properties and explore as much as he wanted to. And he played and was as happy as a pig in mud. We realized that the outfit could be washed, that a bath would clean up all the dirt, but the thrill of being in the moment, of being able to touch and be amazed at this thing that he had never discovered before was more valuable than the clothes or the dirt that could be washed away. We continue to rethink what is right and wrong when it comes to parenting. Sekou challenges us every day. You know, we allow him to climb on couches and draw on his clothes and his shoes, let him run around the store. Well, I do anyway. And I get the death stares from other mamas who look at me and who think that children should be quiet and well-behaved in public. I also get those questions that are really judgments, but I don't pay them any mind. Because at the end of the day, our job is to guide Sekou on this journey of life, not to control him. We're here to help him figure out his place in the world, to uncover his greatest gifts, to discover why he was born. We are raising a free Black boy in a world that despises Black joy, and we refuse to put limits on him that the world already has.
What's your credit card debt balance? If it's $10,000 or more, here are 3 easy.
Our parenting can be seen as an allegory for this two-sided coin of possibilities. On one side, the reality of raising a Black boy in a society that says that Black boys, Black bodies, and Black lives only seen as profitable or disposable. And then there's the other side. Possibility of two parents who no longer together, coexisting, supporting each other, loving each other, showing affection publicly in a way that honors the relationship with our son. And even more importantly, is the power to support each other in those vulnerable moments. Like there was this one time that it was my day to go pick up Sekou. You remember that time? I go pick Sekou up, he's in first grade. And as I'm walking up, another parent walks up and says, "Hey, Shaka, I seen Oprah Winfrey give a shout out to you on CNN last night." She was super excited, exuberant even. I was mortified because I thought, what's gonna happen when she tells another parent and they tell another parent? And then they go and look me up. And then they discover that I was in prison for second-degree murder. And then their child hears about it. And they come to school and they say to Sekou, "Your dad was convicted of murdering someone." And I remember as watching Sekou race out, and I knew that I had to call Ebony. And when I called her, I explained to her what happened. Ebony said, "You have to have the talk." So I took Sekou home, got him ready for bed, and we talked for half an hour. And I talked to him about why I went to prison. And I listened to his feedback. And then we called his mom so we can do our nightly ritual of her offering prayer and then me doing affirmations. And I remember holding them tightly. And I realized the importance of the affirmations that we do at night. And I see them as a roadmap, as a guide, as a touchstone for other parents to protect, and to empower their children, especially in a world where it's very difficult. For us, co-parenting is so much more than scheduling pick-up and drop-off, play dates, deciding what he's gonna wear, what he's gonna eat. For us, it's about helping each other carry the weight, unpack the load, and to show up in the world in a way that honors the beauty of our son. And it's for these reasons that we do affirmations.
We never thought we'd be here, but here we are. And we hope that the way that we show up for Sekou and for each other is a model of what successful co-parenting can look like. We'd like to bring you all into this nightly ritual of affirmations that Shaka does with.
Now, I thought this was a beautiful moment, you know what I'm saying? Now, I know it don't always work out like this, y'all. Trust me, I know it don't always work out like this. But I thought it was a beautiful moment, you know, to show that in certain situations, co-parenting can work. It all depends on the level of adult that the two individuals involved are, in my opinion. But it's clear to see that they have made up their mind they're gonna do what's best for their child, and that's admirable.
With Sekou every night at bedtime.
Hey. I am great.
I am great.
I am awesome.
I am awesome.
I'm amazing.
I'm amazing.
I am thoughtful.
I'm thoughtful.
I am kind.
I'm kind.
I'm loving.
I'm loving.
I am caring.
I'm caring.
I am funny.
I'm funny.
I'm smart.
I'm smart.
I'm a big boy.
I'm a big boy.
I'm a soldier.
I'm a soldier.
I'm a warrior.
I'm a warrior.
I am Sekou.
I'm Sekou.
Good job, babe.
Yeah, once again, you know, that's what I wanted to bring you that video. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was an interesting video on co-parenting. Now, once again, I would say that I know that it don't always work out like that for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? Y'all women know that on y'all side. Men, we know it on our side. You know, you have to be blessed. In a lot of aspects, you have to be blessed in them situations because it don't always work out, you know, with the co-parenting thing like you would want it to. Especially when there's strong feelings, because feelings play a lot in these situations, you know, especially, you know, when it's the others are in other relationships, you know what I'm saying? That can become a situation on both sides. I know it can. But it's all about doing what's best for the child in the end. And I think co-parenting should be all about, you know, finding a way. You got to find a way sometimes, I think. You got to find that way. But I believe we got time to share one more little video, and then I'll slide on out of here. Yeah.
At this point, if it's not about the kids, then we have nothing to talk about.
And I think it's very important to hear these videos from women. The first ones are about women and men, but you know what I'm saying? You hear this video is from a woman's aspect of how she feels about co-parenting. I think it's important to explore both sides. Whether you are a man or a woman, you should always explore both sides of an issue. It's very important in today's society, don't you think? Let's continue.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. It's your girl Michelle. If you're new to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to turn your post notifications on so you're notified whenever I upload a video. Now, as you can tell by the title of the video, we're going to get a little personal. This may be a sensitive topic to some, but I feel like it needs to be addressed. It needs to be spoken about more. So many children are affected by this. And as you can tell, we're going to be talking about co-parenting and the boundaries after a breakup, even co-parenting, even in a relationship, of how to properly do it. And I'm going to give a disclaimer very quickly. I'm not a professional. I'm not a doctor. I can only talk about things I have experienced myself. Without further ado, we're going to jump right into this. When I think about co-parenting, like my personal definition is basically two mature parents who are willing and able to push aside any type of ill feeling or any type of feelings in general to come together in the best interest of the child or the children that they have in common, which sounds pretty easy, but sadly it's impossible in most cases. But if you're able to do that, you'll be able to co-parent. The first point that I would like to address is when you're co-parenting, you have to set boundaries. That's like rule number one. Before you can actually even move forward, before you guys can work and pair up as a team, you have to set boundaries. That goes for anything, relationship, friends, whatever. We need to learn how to set boundaries for ourselves. So people are not just allowed to do whatever they want in a situation. In order for you to set boundaries and co-parent together, you have to first be able to let go of any feelings. Sometimes we're holding on to anger. Sometimes the breakup wasn't because of you, so now you're still madly in love with this person. You have unresolved emotions and feelings. It seems impossible to actually come together and just focus on the child. But when you guys are interacting, it's strictly about
this bird is everything to
The king, the Struggle Stream King.
If it's worth showing off, it's worth protecting. Add tech coverage to your
about the child. There should be no other interaction if it doesn't pertain to the child. In order to actually do that, you kind of have to unlearn the person, detach and pull away, kind of take your feelings out of that situation and just focus solely on the child, which makes the situation so much easier and less complicated. When you're around that person, certain things that you would be able to ask him or her, like personal questions about, who they're dating, what they're doing, texting them, all of that stuff is irrelevant now. You kind of have to know your place. You kind of have to stand back because now that's not your position anymore. All of those feelings and all of that resentment, hate, or whatever, you gotta have to just remove it. Do whatever you have to do when you're around that person just to be able to be cordial for the child. That goes into me saying, keeping your personal business out of the conversation. Communication is the next thing, and very, very important of how to communicate with your ex, because when you hold on to feelings, you may address them in a different way, address them in an inappropriate way, you display some type of anger or hurt, trying to get their attention. So you got to learn how to properly communicate with each other, respect each other. Again, this goes into having boundaries. You can't just call that person any type of time of the day, unless it's an emergency that has to do with your child. But I feel like it's appropriate to come up with like a schedule between the two parties so that there's no miscommunications and there's no mix-up, which can then turn into arguments. What I've learned is that you just can't let your emotions come out in the conversation. Just eat that, suck that up. Also, you need to make sure that going into this with kind of like a business type tone, especially if your ex is still not over you or you're still not over them. In situations like that where you haven't really taken the time to properly heal, you can find yourself in a more vulnerable place. And if they happen to pat you on the butt or give you a compliment, then almost like playing with your emotions and leading you back on. And that's something that you don't want, especially if that's not what they want. You need to basically let it be known that, this is strictly what we're doing. Nothing more, there's nothing less than that. So there's no mixed messages. Being mindful.
See, once again, it definitely is about feelings, y'all. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely about how you feel about things because, when there's still strong feelings involved, that's where a lot of these situations can make it real difficult for co-parenting to be a strong co-parenting thing. Now, I know it's never going to be perfect because it probably, in certain situations, there's always going to be some level of feelings there. But I do realize and understand that sometimes two people do just grow apart. You hate it, but it happens. You know what I'm saying? It happens more than you think. It's sometimes, are we adult enough to move on when that time comes? A lot of us aren't, and we act out. And I think that can be an issue. And it definitely, in certain situations, it can leave where you leave the child without no parent because somebody's done something stupid. But I know a lot of these points and principles that she's pointing out, I know it's hard to do. But it's interesting for y'all to see. So let's continue.
Of how we behave and conduct ourselves while our children are present. We think that children don't pay attention. They are very observant. They are like sponges, and whatever they see, they will pick up. You never want to fight, never want to show any type of argument in front of your children because not only can that cause long-term damage, but you never want them to feel like they have to choose which parent they need to be with. That's hard for children because they love both of their parents. All the children want is for both of their parents to be in their lives. Being mindful of how you conduct yourself can definitely prevent any type of emotional issues to your children later on in life. We always want to be positive role models for our children to look up to, make sure that they are safe, happy, and healthy. Another thing I think that would work well for co-parenting is being flexible and open with one another. I'm not saying to be too lenient, which means allowing certain things to go on, because then that would just contradict everything I said about the boundaries. But if in the event that one of you have to change plans because you have to work late or something happened, you got a flat tire and you can't pick up the child, kind of be a little bit more understanding if this is not an ongoing thing. Now, if it becomes every other day with an excuse or whatever, then that can definitely cause some type of, tension. Be flexible with one another. I feel like that will literally help to be more cordial, to have a better understanding, and to release any type of tension, because now you guys are able to work and compromise, having an understanding that each parent's different. There is literally no manual that tells you, this is how you're supposed to parent. And I know that every mother likes to do things a certain way. I'm guilty, but I feel like fathers should be given the same exact leeway and same exact chance to do it the way that they do it. Everybody does it the way they do it. As long as the child is not being harmed or affected in any type of way, I say if the father's showing effort consistently, then I say allow him to do that. There's so many children that are yearning for that mother love or that father figure in their life, and because of two parents who just couldn't get it right due to their personal unresolved issues with one another, now the children have to suffer. And because your relationship failed, why should we keep failing our children? These are children that weren't asked to be brought into this world. These are children that deserve love, deserve to have that quality time, feel important so that they can grow up and the cycle doesn't keep repeating, because it all starts from when you're a child. And when children feel neglected or the absence of a parent, it literally starts to affect you.
Yep.
Supercharge your business with the all-new Shopify point of sale, the all-in-one.
As you get older, I can speak for myself. I didn't even know, having my father absent throughout my whole life, I didn't start feeling it or really hurting until I became an adult. I just started to kick up certain feelings, and I started going back into my past about certain times and dates and events where he wasn't there, started to come back, and I kind of relived it. So if we can do something different, if we can stop this cycle, I say that it's all about the children to have that relationship. They deserve to have both parents, even if they are living in different households, or even if they're not the best of friends. Don't let your children know that. Fake it till you make it. A lot of people need to understand that. Take your emotions out of the situation. It's no longer how you feel about that person when you guys break up. Put all of your time and your effort into being the best friend that you can for these children. Really important to control your emotions if you're unhappy with something that he said or she said to you, especially when you're in front of your children. You know that saying, do as I say as I do. Children will do as you do. Bottom line, period. They are constantly watching you. Children are gonna watch, children are gonna observe, and you don't want them to.
That was really important what she said about, focusing on the children, because it really can be difficult after a breakup and you have kids involved, and you know what I'm saying, and life goes on, as you would say. It's hard for people to accept things. So focusing on your children as best as possible can get you through some tough situations when dealing with relationships. I know, you know what I'm saying? Been through it on both sides, so you know, you learn from personal experience. And I guess that's the best teacher of all in any of this is experience. But like I say, ladies, I agree. There's some deadbeat daddies out there that, you know what I'm saying, they want to shoot the club up, they want to shoot all up in the club, and then when the bun is in the oven, they want takeout. They want to go. It's crazy. And I have no respect for dudes that act like that. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you know what happens when you have protected sex. I think some of these guys can be just as delusional as the ladies, in my opinion. Hell, I'm an equal opportunist. So, you know, that's where I go with that thing. But I think having a child is a gift, a blessing, not to be taken lightly. But I do understand that life happens. Let's continue.
Not only feel like they need to choose, but you don't want them to start resenting you. You don't want to be that parent who your child resents, because I've never experienced that. Imagining them feeling any type of hate towards me would just crush me, because my love for them is so strong. Once a child is angry, it's really hard to knock out those walls down. They are literally looking for love. A lot of parents make the mistake of just buying the child gifts. When they do pop up, it's a gift that makes the parent look good. It's temporary excitement for the child. But what happens when they're done playing with the toy or whatever it is you got them, now they're looking for you. Now they want you to take them to the park, teach them how to ride a bike. They want you to go to their softball game or their volleyball game. There's so many things that come into it. And I feel like part-time is just not enough. I'm gonna go back into the boundaries again. There's no part-time father. There's no part-time mother. I feel like it's all or nothing. I don't feel like you should pick certain days or times where you need to see your child. But if this is an agreement that you do have and you are consistent with the setup the way that, you know, you guys have it, then that's all well. But for a child to be able to not know how long is the next time before I get to see my mother, how long will be the next time before I see my father, that is where the long-term damage starts to stick with the children. I just feel like I see so many broken children, so many broken adults yearning and wanting that type of relationship with parents. And so if nothing else, if the relationship happened to fail and it didn't work out, you don't just leave the kids because the relationship failed. Step up to the responsibilities, do what you have to do, even if you don't think that you can tolerate that person. You have to push your feelings aside, because our children are what's the most important. And how we act, how we conduct ourselves is how they will blossom and how they will, turn out when it's all said and done, because of what we teach them, what we show them. Another thing that's really important that I stress when co-parenting is to never speak foul or ill about your ex to your children. That is just one of the most hurtful things that you can do. You always want to let your children make their own decisions, let them learn and see things for themselves. I see a lot of children being affected by that due to what the mother is feeding to the child or what the father is telling the child about the mother. It really confuses their minds, and they're so innocent. They don't need to even be in adult business. It's not for them to have to figure out or even ingest. It's just very immature to speak ill about your ex in front of a child who doesn't even understand life. And if you have an older child or whatever the case, it's still not in the best interest to display any type of ill emotions towards your ex. Speaking ill about another parent causes confliction between the child and the other parent, but it can lead to poor self-esteem because you're speaking so bad upon their parent, and now they're thinking maybe this is true. Now they're believing what it is only because they're trusting what you're saying and they feel what you're feeling. They don't think that their parent loves them because this is what the other parent is telling them. Now their mind is just feeling all types of things. It can allow them to go astray, try things that they shouldn't try because they're trying to run from what they feel. They want to feel numb. They're so confused. They don't want to.
I just get a latte, pretend to shop.
One time.
To get started in data analytics, you don't need previous experience or a degree. The
No
Google Data
experience.
Analytics Certificate
Want to be in the house. Now you're dictating and you're brainwashing that child, which is so unfair to the other parent who, probably has great intentions, but because the child who solely lives with, that parent, they are more susceptible to listening to that parent because they don't see the other parent on a day-to-day basis. There's so many things that can go into it. So definitely need to be mindful when feeling some type of way. And I understand that it can be very difficult when dealing with an ex, when it didn't end on good terms, but you got to save that for somebody else. Do whatever. Just don't put it on your children. Let's not normalize, speaking bad or insulting another parent of the children. It's really important to make sure that you guys are making shared decisions. Everything should be 50-50. You guys created these children together. Both parents should be able to decide what is going on when it has to do with the child, especially when it has to do with school, sports, whatever the case may be. You want to have that open relationship to be able to discuss certain things pertaining to the child. Another thing when co-parenting is to really check in on your child. This could definitely take a toll out on your child, especially with such a difficult transition when they're used to seeing both parents living underneath the same roof to now just seeing that one parent. So if you're noticing that their behavior is different, they're a little more quieter, they look a little sad, I just feel like it's important to check in on them and allow them their time and allow them to express how they feel. It's not easy. It's not easy. Children do have feelings, and a lot of times I've heard this growing up, a child needs to stay in a child's place. That's great and all, but a child does need to be able to express what they feel and not have to suppress their feelings because they're afraid of what the outcome is going to be from their parent. The worst thing a parent can do is shield a child or make a child feel fearful when coming to them because they're going to get yelled at, they're going to get screamed at, they may get hit. You want to always have that comfortable relationship with your child where they feel like they can come to you with anything and not have to go to somebody else or choose another alternative just to be able to get their emotions out. Children need time to transition and adapt to such a sensitive situation. With that being said, all of this is done for the child. Make sure that their quality of life is great, that they find happiness as they're growing and they have the support and the proper structure and a positive environment as they are going through their, their journey in life. So at the end of the day, time heals all wounds. So whatever it is that you face with that person in the relationship doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to experience the same thing now that you're co-parenting. Some people do better when they are just friends instead of, in a relationship. So you kind of have to look at it like that, and you don't have so many expectations now at this point because the focus is not solely on being in a relationship and how you guys are going to work together to make sure that child has a good life. A good parent is going to fight for the child no matter the situation or circumstance. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you like, you comment, and you subscribe. Also comment down below if you've ever had to co-parent and how it worked for you, what tips and tricks that you use to be able to conduct yourself with your ex. Being said, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Don't forget to click the bell. Follow me on all my social medias.
Now, once again, you know what I'm saying? I just wanted to come to y'all and share them videos, a couple videos, to see what y'all thought about this topic and this subject. I found was interesting, you know, especially coming from the ladies' point of view about, do women really co-parent? Because in the end, I think it's very important that the focus not be on the mother or the father, but the children, because that's important, in my opinion. Now, how will you get there and how you decide that you want to do that? If you're forced with that situation of co-parenting, you know, best case scenario, you want to stay together forever. That's what you all want, and we all want in relationships, but in reality, a lot of the time that does not happen. And I totally get it, I agree. But especially from the lady side, I hope that you can give the fathers that really are trying to be in their children's life the chance. Because I do see that a lot. That can be the issue, that for whatever reason, woman scorned. I get it. I totally get it. He totally get it. But in a lot of cases, you know, some dudes just don't want to be there. They want to make babies and they don't want to be there. But for the ones that do, please, ladies, give that guy a chance to be in that child's life. But it was some interesting videos to look and share with y'all, the good community out there. But I got to go. So let me know what you thought about this video and this live. Thank y'all for tuning in. My people's on Facebook, people's on YouTube, worldwide. Get with your boy Chris B, and I'm out.